Let's bring in, once again, Bell Point Chief Strategist David Nelson. He's back. Susan Li is joining the discussion as well. And let's go back to trade for a second here because, look, I don't know, David. I mean, the market's kind of had a muted reaction when we pulled out of the deal, no deal with Canada on Friday. Here we are after a three-day weekend, and there's still no reaction.
I think markets are reacting this way. Either one, they don't believe that pulling out of the deal is so bad at this point. Or, in fact, if tariffs continue and we ratchet them up, as we have announced on China, that the bears are wrong, that it's not going to disrupt overall trade as it is. And the markets are pretty benign at this point. Yeah,
that's interesting, Susan. Some of these, there seem to be some real no-go issues with Canada, in particular the protectionist policy. I mean, to be a dairy farmer in Canada, what a safe place to be. It's tariffs on nearly 300%. If you're a Wisconsin dairy farmer, forget trying to get into Canada. It's near impossible.
Yeah, well, talk is that given that U.S. and Mexico finally found that agreement, that maybe it'll be easier for Canada to join, and they might be willing to offer some concessions in place because it's not just dairy that they're arguing over, it's also the dispute panels as well. How do you dispute arguments within the three?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And there is talk that Canada recognizes 75% of their exports go to one country, that is the U.S. And if we are to sign a deal, there might be some concessions made.
Over the weekend as well, David, Richard Trumka, the president of the AFL-CIO, was on Fox News Sunday and other programs talking about what President Trump's trade stance has done to his membership. And it was pretty negative. He basically said we'd be better off with the Democrat, and I'm paraphrasing because I don't have the soundbite to play for you.
Surprising?
And he said, he goes like, this is bad for our membership. This is bad for labor. These tariff fights, in particular with NAFTA, that NAFTA was always a good thing for the American Union.
That's very interesting because it was just the opposite, 10, 15 years ago, how bad NAFTA was. Not surprising that he would say that. Unions have been losing membership for some time, and part of that is because we have such a strong economy at this point. I think there's a new dynamic playing out. I think a lot of Americans, including union members, it's not just the 4.2% GDP print that we had, or the fact that consumer confidence is at an 18-year high. A lot of people who have a job, they're happy with their job, and they're even excited about the prospect of an even better job. That's a dynamic we haven't had since the 1990s. So I can understand his hesitancy here, but I think these negotiations are going just the way the president would like. He wanted a bilateral agreement first with Mexico at this point, makes his hand a lot stronger with Canada.
But you know what, Susan? He did strike a nerve with the president because the president actually tweeted about it after the interview aired, which I found interesting. And I want to read you what he said because it's President Trump. He likes to get on Twitter. He said, Richard Trumka, the head of the AFL-CIO, represented his union poorly on television this weekend. Some of the things he said were so against the working men and women of our country and the success of the U.S. itself that it is easy to see why unions are doing so poorly. A damn exclamation mark.
We had 12.5 million workers. That's what Richard Trumka, that's how many workers he represents. And he wants a three-way deal because a lot of states actually depend a lot on the Canadian economy and trade between back and forth. But I think the Canadian government recognizes that this is posturing. This isn't negotiation. It's tough negotiation. The president's very good at this, given his background in real estate. And they have fully expected some harsh rhetoric. And I guess they're fully seeing that right now. But I think they want to come to the table as well at this point. So they have.
You don't think they're offended by what happened on Friday when those comments to Bloomberg were publicized? Because that was pretty rough.
I think that was part of the reason for the delay. But the good news is that a lot of the hard work is already done. Chrystia Freeland, the Canadian foreign minister, said very specifically that a lot of the work is done on auto. And that was really the big bugaboo going into this whole thing in the first place. And the other thing I'd like to see addressed is intellectual property. Nobody's talking about it. The record in Canada is pretty poor, especially with our pharmaceutical industry.
Oh, that's interesting. Well, of course, you leave me with something I don't have time to get into, David. It's good to have you here, David.
Thanks,
David Nelson, Susan Li, of course. Thanks to both of you.